Hello friends, this is Amit Kumar and I welcome to my channel Prince Tech Solutions. So today I'm going to show how to create incremental load and how to get a partial data, not exactly the full set of record again and again to QVD. So the benefit of using incremental load is to reduce the data load timing from the database, which were daily basis we are just fetching again and again the same records. Say for example, I have an ERP system, so which is running since say 10 years, and there are a lot of records. Say just assume there are 2 millions of records. Now first day when I extract the data from system to to create a QVD, I have got this. Say for example, first day data loading, day 1. So I got the data, say okay, 2 million of record I am getting. Now the next day when I am running the same QVD, it's again fetching the same record with say 20 new records. So again, in order to fetch these 20 new records, I have to again fetch the entire 2 millions of record from the database. What is the purpose of this? Now in the third day we will do the same process in a normal reload mechanism, what you're doing here without incremental load. Say I'm getting this many records, so I can assume in the third day I'm getting only 30 records, in the second day I get 20 records, and in the first day I get 2 millions of records. So in order to get these 20 records and 30 records in first and second and third day, I had to reload a number of record again and again, which is leading which is consuming more time for QVD creation and also putting a load on the server. So in order to avoid that, we are going to use incremental load. That means first day it will get the same record, say 2 millions, and the second day it will only get this, okay, and it will sum with this 2 million record, 2 million plus this 20 record, and you will be having this, okay, you will be having totally this many records. So what I did, in the second day I only fetched the newly added record, that is 20 records, and then I concatenated with the data which is there in the existing QVD. I did not replace the old QVD, I just loaded the data of the QVD also. Then I have these 20 records from the database newly extracted, and then I loaded the existing QVD which is loaded yesterday only. It has 2 million record. I just concatenated, concatenated these two set of records, 2 million plus 20. Now I got a 2 million 20 records, and I'm going to save it and replace with the new QVD. Okay, so my new QVD with this latest number of record will be replaced with the old QVD which has these many records. Okay, now in the third day what will happen? So now in my third day, how many records are there in my QVD? These many records are already there in my QVD. So what I'll do, I will only get the newly extracted record, newly added record of that 24 hours. Say my today's midnight to last midnight, so it would be 24 hours. So in that time I'll be fetching the data from yesterday's record only. That means it will show the last closing date record. Say if it is 30, then my latest data in the QVD would be this much, okay. Then I'll be again storing to new QVD, okay. So my output would be this much. Likewise in the fourth day my base data would be 2,050,000, and the newly added record will be concatenated with that, and the QVD will be replaced. So this is a kind of iterative process. It is something like this. Here I have this data source which is my ERP system, and you can see this is the QVD I have, the step 2. Now when we are loading the data from the database first time, we don't have to use incremental load because I want the exact 2 million records to be there in the QVD. And from the second day onwards, all my data, all my newly added data will only come to here, and then it would be concatenated with the old QVD. So the step 2 is the 2 million record will be loaded, and then along with this 2 million record, 20 records will be concatenated and then again replaced with the step 3. Excuse me. So the same process will be repeated every day on my data loading process. Third day I will have 2 million 20 records. Again the 30 records will be coming here, and it will be concatenated with 2 million 20. So it would be 2 million 50, and then it would be replaced with this QVD. So this process will be repeated again and again. Now in order to reproduce this scenario, I will create a incremental load practically. Let's see how we can connect to it. So this is my QlikView editor. I have some preloaded scripts. I will just comment those, and then you can see I have this QVD folder, data folder, where I am going to load a table called transaction. So I have this transaction table in my SQL server. You can see how many records are there. There are 1000 records. Okay, so let me tell you, before I create any script, in order to create incremental load, you must have a database, you must have a date field. Okay, any timestamp field which should have date type of data. Like here I have a transaction date, which is keeping the day on which the record is inserted. So this kind of field is mustly needed in order to enable the incremental load. Okay, so let's just create it. I'm going to load that table. So as I said, the first day you don't have to apply incremental load, you have to load the entire set of records from the table. So how can I connect to it? I have OLEDB, it's already connected actually. So I will just select this data from the SQL server. Okay, I have a couple of other databases also. Let me connect to the database once again. I think I have another instance. So connect to database. I have the SQL server. This is the name of my database instance. So I will just take it here, and then test connection. I can see the connection is succeeded. Now I will have this one, this database. Okay, I just could connect it. Now I will select this data. I will select that transaction table and then try to load it. I have this transaction table with me. Okay, so this is the selection statement, and I'm going to create a QVD from here, store transaction. So this is my script of creating the QVD file. Okay, alright, my QVD will be created in the data folder, which I have it in my project folder. My QVD will be created in this data folder. So I just given the path. Store command will enable you to create the QVD, and this is the standard syntax of creation of the QVDs. Now I have not applied any incremental load as of now. As I said, initially you don't have to apply the incremental load, you have to load the entire table, and which is a one-time activity, and then the iterative in the iterative mode you have to load the newly added records only, and that will be concatenated with the existing data set, okay, which is there in your QVD. So let's load it. I just save it and then I'm going to load it here. So what happens? I think I have to go with some other mode. I don't know why it is not loading. Let me check. Okay, I think there's a problem in my SQL server. So what I'll do, I'll just take a Excel database. I have this Excel database. Then I will keep it inside my project folder. Okay, let's keep it here, and then I'll load this table. Simply the same table which is there in my SQL server, I'll just connect to it. The same transaction table I have here in this database, Excel database. So I just loaded. Yeah, I've loaded the Excel table. Then I will create the QVD from this Excel table now. Okay. So my table is created. Let's see in the data folder. Yes, you can see the transaction table in form of QVD is created. There are 1000 records. Okay. Now what I'll do, so the first time data loading from the transaction table is completed now. It's time to apply the incremental load, and let's see how we can apply the incremental load. Before that, I will insert another record based on yesterday's date. Okay, so yesterday's date is 12. So just below to this, I'll just try to add any haphazardly. I will just create a product code, this thing, and I'll create a relationship here. I will have some items. Just for assurance, I'm going to see today's 6. Okay, so I just could add a new record. Now every time you fetch the data from this I just have placed here. I'm not going to put it here. Okay, let it be. I just have to remove it. Okay, let me remove, and then I have to enable one option actually, so that you can see the differences of normal data loading and incremental data loading process. So okay, now I uncheck this option, close when finished. So now you can see how many records are getting fetched every time. By default there are 1001 records which is there in QVD. So if I'm reloading once again, you can also see the same 1001 records is fetched and replace the new QVD. So now in order to get, say if I'll have one more record, there would be 1002 records. So in order to get that one record only, I have to load the entire 1001 record again. So I don't want it. I will apply the incremental load, then I'll just load only one newly added record, and then I will concatenate with this with the newly added record. Let's see. Here, this on this Excel loading script, I'll have to apply a where condition, where date is equal to yesterday's date. Okay, so now I'll just check the yesterday's date is 16. Okay, now before I store the QVD, here I have to load my existing QVD. So my existing QVD is the transaction QVD. I just could load it. Okay, so this is my existing QVD I'm loaded. You can see the same number of columns are here and same number of columns are also here. So as the columns are same, the table can be concatenated. So in order to concatenate it, you have to use the syntax called concatenate. Now what will happen? This script will get only one record because I am going to add a new record in the Excel. Now it will not every time load 100 or those 1000 records, and then it will concatenate with the existing 1001 record which is there in the QVD, and then it will store the newly added QVDs. Okay, so let's see. Before that, I'll have to add a new record to my data source. Okay, now I will just keep the date as yesterday's date. Okay, so in order to make it dynamic, I have to keep this day, pass this date from a variable actually. I should not keep this data static. So in a real-time scenario, you have to pass a variable where you can pass this date, actually pass the date of the yesterday's data. Okay, so this is actually added into the Excel. I can now save it. Then I will try to reload this. I have this incremental load with me. First record will get only one record, and then it will concatenate it with the existing QVD, and you would see 1002 records will be there in the QVD. But this time it will not load 1002 records. It will load only one record. Okay, that's what the beauty of the incremental load is. Zero record is fetched. Let's see why it could not match this condition. I think the date condition did not match. So let's see. I just added a 0 before this. Still it did not compare. Oh, actually I'm loading the data from another Excel folder. Alright, no issue. I will just replace this Excel folder into that path. Sheetal. Yeah, I'm loading the Excel from this data folder actually. Okay, now it will load. Now it will load. Okay, now this information shows that how many records I have got from my database. I got only one record. Okay, I got only one record. Then this, along with this one record, I just got the data from my QVD, which is storing this time 1002 records. So earlier it was 1001 records, and in this time when you're fetching, it's only fetching one record. Now it concatenated that one record with this existing 1001 records and then going to save it. So likewise I will just add two more records on today's date here. In this product DB I will check. Okay, I'll just change this date to today's date and I will save this, and accordingly I'll have to change the condition here. So just assume if my data is loading today, it should only get the today's record, not all the entire record from the database. So it will only get how many records from today? Only 2 records, and then it will concatenate it with 1002 records, which is already saved to my QVD, correct? And then in that 1002 records, these 2 records will be concatenated and 1004 record will be saved to my QVD. So this time I am going to load only 2 records. Yeah, this is what exactly. I have 2 records fetched from my database, and then it is storing 1004 records, 4 records. I never fetched 1002 records from the database, only 2 records I fetched. So this is, I fetched with a condition of today's records only. That's why I had to add the date function, I mean this date clause in my select statements. So that's the beauty of incremental load. And you can see in my QVD folder, you would see this is the transaction table. You would see there are 1004 records are loaded, but every time I will fetch the data, I'll have to check the latest loaded data only, not entire data. So that's the beauty of the incremental load. If this video would have been found suitable for you, please like my video, please subscribe, stay in touch. Thank you so much.